dinner the other day. I guess it's brunch because of the hour, but it's breakfast because it's going to be the first meal that we're eating. So we're having pancakes. I'm using a new pancake brand. This is buttermilk pancakes by Red Mills. In general, I like the Red Mills brand, and I've been trying to make a buttermilk pancake like the pancakes that I used to have at my mom's house, and I haven't had any that have been delicious. And it's mostly because I'm not able to use the vegetable oil that gives me like the crispy edges and that flavor, because vegetable oil is soybean oil. But I'm gonna try to make these pancakes. I'm hoping that they're gonna be good. I am substituting one ingredient, which is an egg. So that's what you saw me stirring. I'm making a flax egg instead of using a real egg because my body doesn't like poultry. And for the flax egg, this is my first time trying this flax meal from Trader Joe's. I went to 4 stores to find flax meal and didn't find any. And I think it's because everybody is learning that it's an egg replacement. And so they're like getting the flax meal. So just wanted to say that I'm making buttermilk pancakes, bacon, and this is like a peppercorn black something smoked bacon from Trader Joe's. We're gonna have some grits, eggs. I feel like there's something else. Oh, and then sliced apples. So I would call it brunch, but we're not doing anything brunch like. So I'm gonna put this bacon in the oven because that's essentially our main timer, because it only takes like 15 minutes for the 10-15 minutes for the bacon to cook in the oven, and then the whole house smells like bacon, which I like. I am going to, I set up a mise en place here to make it easy so maybe I don't have to step away from the camera as much. So I'm going to start boiling some water for the grits. Boiling some water for the grits, which I really, really like grits. I have grits probably almost like every day. While that is boiling, I'm going to get started on the pancake. The recipe says that these pancakes make about 8 pancakes. So I don't want to ruin any of them, but you know how they say the first pancake isn't necessarily the best pancake. So I have it already portioned out. So this is a cup of the pancake batter, and then hold on, let me just read this and make sure. I know I got my mise en place, but just in case. Okay. Then we have, and I'm learning that like the order that you put ingredients matters. So I'm gonna follow the order. Tablespoon of oil, and I just used a grapeseed oil. Because I like that as oil. I made the flax egg already, so I think it's ready to go. So I'm gonna drop that in there. And then I'm gonna do the 3/4 cup of water. And what I'm gonna do to get the rest of this flax out of here, I'm gonna toss the washer in here so that all of that good flax gets out. Y'all didn't really see me do that, but basically I just poured it in here and poured it out. And then we'll stir this and get this ready. Let's see. Didn't say anything about don't over mix. Nope, nothing like that. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, because obviously anytime you change the recipe a little bit, you run the risk of things not being what you want them to be. And the flax egg could totally change the consistency, could change everything, because it is made with water. And that could mean that we might have a runnier pancake. I don't know. But something that I realized is that being able to be creative and being on camera is something that really, really feeds me. And I'm in this new season of postpartum where so much changes and feeling so disconnected from myself that being able to do content really feels like being connected to myself. But the process of content, shooting, editing, like even imagining like what it would be, like that process is actually pretty intense, and I usually don't have the bandwidth or the energy to be able to do that. But what I do have is the bandwidth to bring you alongside me while I do what I'm going to do anyway, And I was watching a video by Sarah Therese, and she had said something when she changed her content over. She said, rather than making separate content, or excuse me, not rather than making separate content, she said, rather than making content with her kiddos in it, she's just going to bring you alongside her in the spaces that she is in her house. And I just really like that idea. So I'm going to try to bring you all alongside me in one of my favorite places to be, which is my home. It's not necessarily my favorite place in my home because I don't love my kitchen, which I'm going to potentially do something about that. I did some DIY projects while I was pregnant, but here in postpartum, most of those I've already pulled up and changed because I wanted to feel different in here. And so maybe in a couple of months or so, I'll do some more DIY projects. But I like that idea of like just bring you alongside. So I'm going to let this sit for just a little bit, especially again, because we use water instead of egg. And I just feel like it's a little bit runny. So hopefully letting it sit will change the consistency. And I'll start to slowly warm this oil here. And very, very slowly. I'm going to get a griddle because I do think pancakes taste the best when they come off of a griddle. I'm going to get that eventually. I'll make the eggs last. I need to put just a touch of salt in my grits. Just a touch of salt. I tried to stay on camera. I did. I think I did good for the little bit. I think I did good for the little bit of time that I was there. Like, I think I did good. The grits and the bacon take the longest to cook. So I guess maybe the pancakes actually, once I get started on those. Do, 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 do. But I'm curious. I would love to know what you all have for breakfast today. Neem loves peace. Can you tell me what your real name is so that I can call you by your real name? But good morning, or good afternoon, rather. Because it is definitely the afternoon now. But hey, yeah, it's noon. It is the afternoon. We had a late start to the day. The last couple of days have actually been a late start. And I know what the reason is. It's because I had chicken. Jamisa. Okay, Jamisa. It's because I had chicken because it was good. It was looking good. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to have a little piece. So I had that. And then also, if you remember from a couple of days ago when I made my, what is it? My $1 million meatloaf, I used an egg instead of the flax meal. And for the last 2 days, I have been feeling it. Feeling it. Okay, just gonna drop my grits in. I have been feeling it, and it does not feel good. This eye is too hot. That is burning my hand. But I think that that's over now. I'm hoping that that's over now. I need to get me a spoon rest. Every time I cook, I say that to myself. I need to get a spoon rest. And I don't do it. So this is thickening up as I thought it would. It's not super thick, but it is thickening up. So we'll almost be ready for our first pancake. We'll let this cook for about a minute. Oh, no, oops, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. Minute to 30 seconds, and then we'll reduce the heat on that. This is getting hot, so I greased the bottom of the pan with just grapeseed oil for right now. I might switch over to butter just to give me a little bit of extra flavor on the pancake. I might switch over to butter because I can't think of how else to get flavor. And I want to say this is like a whole wheat pancake too. So I'm going to make some tentative plaits in my butter. And I'm really excited because throughout my pregnancy, I feel like as difficult as my food aversions and hi, I made it to the life. Hi, my capital life. As difficult as my food aversions, my nausea, my like, like sensitivity to smell. As difficult as that was, there was an element of going through my pregnancy that was very healing for my gut because I have been able to enjoy dairy. So I'm just going to reduce the heat to like very medium low and cover. I have been able to enjoy dairy in a way that I never have before. You guys can't really see my skin, but my skin is really very clear. It's not the best it's ever been in my whole life, but it's really very clear. And that was just not the case before. It was not the case before if I had dairy. Like dairy would show up on my face immediately. I honestly feel like this is gonna be too runny. I really do. This isn't even gonna, okay. So I feel like this is gonna be too runny. What I'm learning in my home economics class is that yes, recipes are important, but also sometimes you have to use skills. So there's no way that that's going to make a pancake because it's too runny. It's just gonna spread out. Probably will make a crepe. I don't want a crepe, I want a pancake. So I think the thing that made it super runny, I just turned the eye off. I think the thing that made it super runny is using the flax egg, which is part water. So there's too much hydration. So what I'm going to do to compensate for that is add just a little bit more of the pancake mix, just a little bit more. And this is also a whole grain pancake. I didn't realize that. Just a little bit more to fix how runny, because I do want it to be a pancake, which means I want some structure in there. So we probably got another, maybe that's another 4th cup. Let's see. That's absolutely too runny. And again, that is not something that I would have tried had I not. I feel like I'm super close. That's not something that I would have even tried had I not been in my home ec class where she's talking about skill building and understanding the skills of things and not being afraid of ingredients in food. So because I understand the purpose of flour in a pancake or in anything really is to create the structure, I'm like, okay, this is going to be too runny. Let's add a little bit more so you can get the consistency that you want. Okay, so that's much better. Much, much better. Let's do just a touch more. Let me turn this back on. And because I didn't know how long it was going to take to find the consistency that I prefer, just turn the eye off. Old me would have just left the eye on because it's like, I know I'm going to be doing this, but sometimes you mess things up because you left the cooking agent on. So then when you finally add the ingredients, it's too hot or it's this. And you can always stop the cooking by just turning the eye off. And it's like most of this stuff is common sense, but if nobody's passing it down, you just think that chefs and home cooks are in the kitchen doing great because they just are riffing off the heart, when in reality, it's just like they understand a set of skills and they're using those skills over and over and over again. Okay. All right. So that is a better batter for sure. I'm going to let it sit just for another second. Let me get a spoon to stir my grits. I'm going to check on my bacon. I really love grits. They're so delicious. Something that I'm going to learn how to make is shrimping grits. Something that I learned is I like fish, but I'm not a big seafood person. I don't dislike seafood, but I don't like it enough to purchase it regularly. But S actually really enjoys seafood. Okay, our bacon is done. I'm going to take this out and get this on some paper towels. And because I'm talking and on camera, let's see. All right, let's see. Much better. Let's try one pancake. See, we got a little bit of clumps. Let's try one pancake and then go from there. And that water doesn't feel hot enough, but see, much better. Now it's the shape of a pancake. I mean, not the water, but the oil. The shape of a pancake. It's actually the shape of a pancake. Because before, I don't know what we was going to get. We're definitely going to get a crepe. Everything is going to be done before our pancakes, but that's okay. Something else that I'm working on is figuring out how to time food so that way when it comes to the table, every single thing is hot, um, which probably already know this, but that's not always easy to do. Not always easy to do. It takes a lot of strategic planning. Okay, I'm going to be off camera for a second because I want to put this bacon, want to strain this bacon, but I'm going to reserve this bacon grease because I realize that I really like to cook. Like my fat preferences are bacon grease, butter. Those are my two fat preferences. I thought my fat preference was olive oil. No, I just know that that's supposed to be healthy for you, but it doesn't give me the flavor profile that I'm typically wanting. So again, from my home economics class, I'm learning the importance of fats and how they work in a recipe. And so before, when I was saving my bacon drippings, I was just doing it because that's what I was taught, like growing up. But now I save it because it is how I prefer to build flavor in a lot of my meals. And because we're a family who is not okay, but enjoys eating pork, it gives us great, amazing, super fantastic flavor. So rendering the bacon juice, not rendering, but taking those bacon drippings, best thing ever. Best thing ever. I'm just going to do that off camera. You can let me know in the comments or when you're watching the replay, what is your favorite fat to work with? Is it olive oil? Is it bacon? Is it lard? Is it another type of oil? Did you know that all of these things were considered fats? And I'm using sort of like the technical chef cooking term because, again, from a skill building perspective, understanding that my bacon, I probably should have set that in there differently, huh? Understanding that my bacon grease and my butter are fats, I know how to sub those in and out of different recipes, which is exciting. So this says cook just until you see bubbles. I see some bubbles. I'm going to turn this over. Spread that. Oh, look at that. It looks like a perfect pancake. Now, I don't know how it's going to taste, but it looks delicious. It looks divine. I am very happy with that. Very happy with that. So, yes, very excited. Let me get a plate. Like I said, there is probably no greater feeling than when something looks the way that you want it to look. So I'm going to stick with the grapeseed oil for my cooking. I'm going to turn off my grits. Yep. I'm going to stick with my grapeseed oil because it seems to be spreading well and giving me that light brown golden color that I really want. I'm going to let this sit for just a second and then I'm going to add some sugar. But yeah, I would love to know, what are your fat preferences? I haven't come up with like acid preferences yet. I know I like wine, but there's so many different types of acids that you can use. This is a very pretty pancake. And people will be like, oh, the first pancake is a wash. Maybe not around these parts. Look at that pancake. Oh, that's what I get. That's what I get. 5-second rule. 5-second rule. Such a pretty pancake. We might have flopped that pancake anyway because it fell on the floor. Oh, okay. Let me get this butter switched around. We know that our temperature is right because I'm getting the color that I want. And this is just 1/4 scoop. And I like using the cast iron versus the stainless steel because I feel like you get a much more even pancake. So it has the right thickness, has the right color. I'll taste the next one to see if it has the right flavor. But I'm very excited to see how good my first pancake came out. That is a beautiful pancake. Just letting my bits cook off. I already put a little bit of butter on that one, even though you're probably not gonna get that one. I'm gonna try to do 2 by 2. This is supposed to make 8. It's taking us about a minute per pancake. That means we're gonna be here. A minute to 2 minutes per pancake. That means we're gonna be here for like 16 more minutes. I'm gonna try to do 2 by 2 instead. Let me add the sugar to my grits here. Normally I do about 2 tablespoons for the grits. Shankees actually likes grapes. Grapes, not grapes. He actually likes grape jelly also. So even though this is more than a tablespoon, I'm only using 2 tablespoon amount. I just only wanted to walk over here one time. But about 2 tablespoons of sugar for the sweetness that I like. And then get that stirred in. I like to let my grits sit for a second before I stir in the sugar, so that way everything gets combined and like the sugar isn't just sitting on the top or doesn't actually get combined with the grits. Oh, somebody told me not to do that. I'm sorry. Somebody told me not to do the beating of the thing on this edge. I wonder, is that okay? Would that mean I would need different utensils? Or I'm just going to pull this over here. This is eventually going to be for our eggs. It got hot enough to where that is going to turn into our eggs. Perfect little pancakes. So I'm going to try to do 2 at a time now. And I accidentally drop that in the stuff. So, get a little oil, and that's very nice that I've only used this oil I only prepared the skillet one time. I literally have this all over. I only prepared the skillet one time and with oil, and it worked. I'm really excited about that. I don't know what to do so this is not falling in my batter. This is really, really nice. Now, I don't know if it's going to cook a little differently because it's over here off to the side, but we are going to find out. I'm just going to turn this a little bit, and then we'll taste this pancake. Let's put a little bit of butter right on top because it's still hot. And the temperature is really, really low. And I've learned that the more patience you can have around pancakes, the better, because you'll get a better overall pancake if you cook it low and slow. Now, I don't know how these are going to cook up off to the side. My best guess is it's not going to get the color that it wants. I like so far the thickness of these pancakes and how they are very consistent in their shape. Super, super consistent. Yeah. So you see how can you guys see that? So you see how because we are, because we're cooking off to the side, we don't get the beautiful edges. This is clearly cooked closer to the center. This clearly cooked closer to the edge. So I'm going to do the rest of the pancakes one at a time because you do eat with your eyes first. And I like my food to look good. Um, so the next four that I make, I'll make them one at a time. Because otherwise, I'm going to get that uneven look. And I don't want that for my pancake. I want my pancake to be pretty. And I'll probably also wipe the skillet down and add a fresh bit of oil. I can remember as a little kid, like always wanting to have like a cooking show. And it's so amazing that with these apps, we basically can do whatever we want to do. All those little dreams that we had can come true. And maybe not even little. Let me not do that to my former self. All those beautiful dreams that we had. Good morning, Stacey. You can use applesauce as an egg substitute, 1/4 cup text. Yes, yes, I know. I've tried applesauce in some of my baked goods. I didn't like the consistency. I like the consistency of the flax eggs. It gives me the closest texture, and it doesn't change the flavor profile. I found with applesauce that my texture and my flavor changes too much. And you guys know, like, texture is like the number one thing for me when it comes to cooking. Like, I like my texture to be right. And so that's my only thing with applesauce is I could imagine that it would give me the jammy, um, like a jammy center, maybe not jammy, but like just a texture that I didn't necessarily want. And then because when I was doing it with cookies, which I understand cookies and pancakes are different, but when I was doing it with cookies, that was the thing. The flavor was okay, but the texture, I just couldn't get behind the texture. Um, and then I could imagine that for pancakes, it might work a little bit better, especially since I don't really do syrup. That's hot now. I don't really do syrup on my pancakes. That I could make a sort of like compound. You know what I'm talking about, the little jammy things that we make to put on top. Like this morning, I'm gonna have agave on these pancakes. But I can make. I feel like it could be like a really good like layering in flavor in that way. Um, but overall, I really like a flax seed substitute. In general, it just makes me feel good. It's not as like I don't feel as great as I feel when I have kale, but when I have like flax in anything, I do feel like I don't know, just better, if that makes sense. And I don't feel bad when I have applesauce, but I don't necessarily feel any different than what I felt before having it. Whereas when I have flax meal, I feel almost healthier. Whether or not that's happening in real life, I don't know. Um, but it is just a feeling. So when I get down to the last, which I don't think this is gonna make 8, 1, 2, I think. Oh no, it will because there's 3 in here. Okay, all right, box of goodness, you were correct. And they're like, yeah, we've tested this recipe. That's the other thing too. I'm learning that like the testing of a recipe has now become something that's very fun to me. Um, and so when containers give you suggested times and stuff like that. It's like, it's not a suggestion. It's hundreds of thousands, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of people have tested this recipe maybe thousands of times before they put that instruction on the box. And so it's the most fail proof way to get what you're hoping to get from the tool that you're using. And even just understanding that, because I think like I grew up in a time where it was like, oh, just do what you really want to do. It's like until you learn the skill, until you understand what's going on, you can't actually do what you want to do. So if you follow the recipe, you'll get the result and then you can reverse engineer your learning. But most people want to be in the space where it's like, oh, I just do a little of this, I do a little of that. before building any of the skills that go in that. So like, for example, with these pancakes, I hope they turned out right, because the two skills that I used was like measuring, the two skills that I used were replacement, right? Like I replaced the egg for the flax egg. And that is a skill. Like how, who's this? Pam knew that she could use applesauce. She has a skill of understanding, well, what ingredients can replace what ingredients. Not a lot of people have that. So sometimes you'll be in your kitchen and all the ingredients aren't there, but like grandma or your mom is in the kitchen, and because they have the skill of replacing ingredients, they can quickly grab an alternative, right? So I use the skill of replacing. We don't know how that's going to turn out. Right now, it looks good, but we still got a little bit of time before we figure out how that actually turns out. So then that's one skill that I use. Then the other skill that I used is the skill of assessing texture. So because this didn't have the right texture, I know what I'm looking for is something that's going to give me, or excuse me, the consistency in the thing. But because it didn't have the right texture to it, I know that what I need is something that's going to give me more structure. Well, I know flour adds structure to whatever ingredient that you're, or whatever thing that you're building. So if like you make a cookie or you make a cake or you make something like that and it doesn't have the shape or the structure that you want, you have to know like, okay, how much of this can I add? How much of this can I take away? Now, because the pancake mix is already mixed in with all the ingredients, probably the flour, the baking powder, all of those different things are already mixed in. I just eyeballed to mix in to get my structure. And I knew that I might have a structure issue because I know that I used water when I created the flax egg, and that adds a little bit more hydration. But that's a skill to know that that's the thing that's going on. And to know that I shouldn't just take a whole nother cup and put it in there. To know that it's just like, okay, you added this much hydration, you added 3 tablespoons of hydration. So when you go to add more structure with this flour mixture, you don't need the equivalent of that, or it's going to cancel each other out or just be super, super dry. But realizing that that is an actual skill to be able to think that quickly, mind blowing. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So we're going to start these eggs. So now every time I come to the kitchen, yes, I want to follow the recipe. Yes, I want food to be good. Yes, all of those things. But more so than anything, I'm like, let me practice this skill. So sometimes I'll give myself restrictions of like first when I was first coming to the kitchen, like let's just say this consistency was off like that, I would have just threw the whole batch away and started over. Because in the beginning when I was learning, I'm like, there's gonna be some waste and that's okay. But now the restriction is, okay, you can't throw anything away. You have to fix it based off of the knowledge that you have. How can you fix an overrunny thing without changing the recipe? And even just knowing that, like, the fix could have been, we'll change what you're trying to eat. Instead of having pancakes, have crepes. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted pancakes, right? Um, and then getting the little crispy edges that I want, all of the goodness that I'm hoping that it has in here is looking like it. Looking like I'm going to have all of that. So I don't know. I'm over here having the time of my life learning all of these different things. I had already, had already mixed up my eggs on my Nissan Plus, which these have been sitting for a bit. So I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay. Let those sit. And I've also learned too, a lot of cooking is just leaving food alone. I think if you're anything like me and you grew up watching people cook on TV, it seems like they're always touching and messing with their food. And maybe some of that is for the cinema of it all, but you have to actually leave your food alone and let it cook and it'll be better. So even with like the eggs, you got to just kind of leave them alone for a second and let them cook. Like most of this stuff is like common sense, but it's like common sense goes out the window when you are like mimicking or you don't know the skill that's actually being used there. last pancake. Very last pancake. And then for my eggs, I'm just going to tilt that to the side. Give that a cook. And my sweetness is starting to cry right on time. Did not make a big mess, which makes me very, very happy. And this is what my pancakes look like. They look like pancakes. Will they taste delicious? Well, let me taste one now. Let's see. Ooh, that's very hot. Is that a new one? Jesus, it's a hot pancake. Okay. Let's taste this. It's a pancake. It tastes just like pancakes. And I don't even miss the egg. It has the, yay, I did it. I did it. It's perfect. You know that since I was pregnant, I have been trying to find a pancake recipe that tastes like home. That tastes like it came from my mama's kitchen from scratch. And now I just found out I'm about to eat these pancakes. They are about to be so amazing. Oh, such a good pancake. I did it. I did it. I did it. Oh, I'm so excited. My pancake is good. I'm going to remove the eggs just a touch before they're done cooking. S likes a soft egg. He doesn't like it scrambled hard. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have touched that. He doesn't like it scrambled hard. There's nothing on this. There's no syrup, nothing. Perfect level of sweetness. This is the exact flavor. When I'm like craving pancakes, I'm so excited. So excited. Uh, you know, I think also I like whole grain over like whole grain flour. Oh, I didn't put any butter on that one. Let me grab some butter. Put some butter on that. This is like my formal mise en place platter. Get a little butter there, and then I'm gonna bring you guys over here while I plate, and I'm just gonna let that be a mess. While I plate this, let's see, we get more light that way. Yes, you guys see? Okay, yes. Okay, so Shanquise has eggs. This is our bacon. I'm gonna give him a little bit of bacon. I always give myself just a little bit more bacon than I give him because I don't have any eggs. And when I say a little bit, I mean it's just like one additional piece or two. But usually I also don't have the pancakes. But either way, still gonna do that. Then same thing with grits. I always give myself a little bit more grits. Somebody had asked me to do like a what I eat in a day. The reason I won't do that anytime soon. Oh, you guys can't see me. The reason I won't do that anytime soon is because I am nursing, and the last thing that I want to open myself up to is people criticizing how much I eat as a nursing person. Whether you think I'm eating the right amount, the wrong amount, the whatever, the last thing I want to do is subject myself to the opinions of, you should be eating this much. You shouldn't be eating that much. This is too much. This is too little. That's the last thing that I want to subject myself to. So rather than you knowing exactly how much I eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you might see a meal or two here and there, but until I'm no longer nursing, you probably won't get a like every single meal because The nursing journey is already, um, it's already like, my nursing journey isn't difficult, but it can already be difficult. And so the last thing that I want is feedback on my calorie count or my level of nutrition or whatever. But cooking with you and showing you what I'm eating in general, that's fun. And so long as it's fun, we can do it. I forgot to put his, let me get him. I'll do a little salt and pepper on his eggs. Just a little salt and a little pepper. I'm so excited that these pancakes turned out right, because this also means I can make some breakfast sandwiches during my meal prep with this. Because I have a meal prep breakfast sandwich where it's like biscuits from scratch, but to be able to, let me put your bacon over here. But to be able to use these, I can make like a McGriddle. That's gonna be delicious. Okay, so I don't want anything on the top. Oh no, I'm gonna do a little agave. Okay, I think that that's everything. Oh, let me put a little bit of jelly, because Shanquise likes jelly. I was gonna do 2 apples, but we just split the one. I'm so excited about my delicious pancakes. So excited. So just a little spoonful of jelly. And then we have breakfast. We have agave. You want to try it with agave? It has such a different flavor profile than I do. So I'm going to have mine with agave. But this is breakfast. And from the heart of my home to your home, I appreciate you all being here. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.